I've been inspired. I got a dream. I got a want. I got a need. How to keep angelfish in the home aquarium. Relatable, realistic issues, facts, answers for you. Food, tank size, care, issues with health, tank mates, all of that. I give to you freely.
Why so serious?
Most of the time you watch a video and you'll see people say, I'm not an expert, I'm just a guy on YouTube. Well, what is an expert except for somebody who has a lot of experience in a specific field? Some people will call an expert someone who has a whole lot of book knowledge. They went to college, they got a degree, they got a little piece of paper signed by another person who had a little piece of paper signed by another person who had a little piece of paper. But no, none of them probably had as much experience as a lot of other fish keepers who actually are doing it, who probably have little more than a high school education, right? And the high school education dude that's been doing it for 800 years and bred all has way more experience and probably knows a whole lot more practical information than the person who went to college for 4, 6, 8 years and got a couple of letters behind their names. Whatever. So what is an expert? I would like to consider myself an expert. I was thinking about this. I was like, hey, I'm an expert. I'm an expert in practical angelfish keeping. I think I deserve that, right? You know what I'm saying? I've done a lot. I think I can toot my own horn on that. Toot, toot. And I shouldn't have to feel ashamed to say it. I am a practical angelfish keeper expert. Keeping expert. I'm not an English expert. Practical angelfish keeping expert. Whole different story. Anywho, I got inspired to do this video because I'm getting back into breeding angelfish after so long. Me taking a little break from breeding angelfish, doing other stuff. And I've been helping a friend of mine, Mel, from Fishcapades. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name Fishcapades, but Mel from Fishcapades, been helping her out with her angelfish. So I feel inspired to make this video, which is a good thing for you because when I feel inspired, that means I get a little extra funky. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride that is Aqua Funk. All right, let's go a little bit into their history. All right, let's go back into nature. So what we know now as angelfish that we find in the LFSs, the local fish stores, all the different varieties, I like to call them designer angels. They're angelfish that have been selectively bred to look a certain way, to have certain types of finnage, have certain types of color, have certain types of patterns that is not found in nature. Now, these fish are not hybrids. There is no such thing as a hybrid angel, unless if you want to consider a Scalare angelfish with an Ultim angelfish. When I say Scalare and Ultim, basically I'm talking about this 3 original OG Mac Daddy angelfish. There's the Ultim angelfish, gets really, really big. And then there's the Scalare angelfish. It's kind of the widest variety of angelfish found in South America. And then there's the Leopoldi, which is a smaller variety of angelfish. And there's only really one general looking type of Leopoldi, and not very big in the hobby. One of my favorites, but not very big in the hobby. They call it the dwarf angelfish. It doesn't get as big. But anyway, normally the ones that you find at the LFS, the local fish stores, are going to be a variety of the Scalare. Now, all these angelfish, whether it be Ultim, Scalare, Leopoldi, they all come from South America, the Amazon River, and the basins and the tributaries coming off of it, right? They all have the same general diamond-shaped look with the long dorsal and anal fin. This weird patterns that you see now with the colors and all that, that's not a wild, you won't find that in nature. You're going to find stripes, you're going to find silver. You will find a iridescence that some of them have that others don't, that a bluish reddish, sometimes you'll see a blue iridescence, sometimes you'll see a slightly reddish iridescence, but that's all you'll see as far as color wise. There'll be silver And maybe you'll find some speckling, but for the most part, they're silver with black stripes. Back to these designer angelfish, pretty much the ones you're gonna find at the local fish store are going to be, you know, your marbles, which a marble, or the goldens, I consider them both to be, you know, in cousins, brothers, sisters, whatever. They're both just mutts. They're a mixture of a bunch of different types of angelfish, and you end up with the marble and sometimes, you know, the goldens. They're just a mix, okay? All the other colors like the blues and all the blacks and the kois and the platinums and all those other varieties, they're a result of people finding a specific trait in a wild angelfish and finding one trait that stands out and finding that trait in a female fish or male fish, and then encouraging them to procreate, and then taking those babies and finding ones that have those traits that may be a little bit stronger, because now you have a male and a female that created this baby, so it might have a little bit stronger you know, trait that they were looking for, and then mix it, and it's called selective breeding. That's how you come up with all these different colors, is people manipulate the genetics as far as one forcing these fish to breed with each other to get a specific type of look, just like we've done with dogs throughout the years. Normally these fish from top to bottom, and these are the ones that these are the designer ones, from top to bottom could get anywhere from 10 to 8 inches, depending on if you got a standard finnage angelfish or if you have a veiled angelfish. 10 to 8 inches, right? The Ultims can get taller. The Leopoldis can get shorter, around the 5-inch, you know, 5-inch mark. But the ones that you get at the LFS, the local fish store, you're looking at about 8 to 10 inches top to bottom. And when you judging angelfish size, if they say a 2-inch angelfish, they're talking about the actual size of the body without the fins. So that's just a little something to think about when you're looking online and they give you an inch size. They're talking about the circumference of the body without the fins. Normally these fish can live about like 5 to 8 years, but in all honesty, most of these fish die prematurely because of an illness, or normally we screwed up somehow. We paired them up with the wrong fish and they died, or they're aggressive towards each other, or we messed up with the water parameters. I have yet to see a fish die of old age, and let me tell you why. I've seen fish live a long time then die, but it's only been like 3 years and maybe their time was up. Just like people, we all are born with an expiration date and they're all different times. So if you have a fish and you've been doing all the things correct and it dies after 4 years, but they're supposed to live 5 to 8 years, don't feel bad. You didn't do nothing wrong. It was just their time to go. Just like humans, sometimes we die younger or older. I know a lot of people who this will happen to them. Oh, I had this fish for 4 years and then it died. I did something wrong. And they start pulling their hair out of their heads trying to figure out what they did. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just their time. But for the most part, people accidentally killed them. That's just the truth. Something happened. Power outage. I don't know. Most of the time, we accidentally kill them before their time is naturally up. Number one question with angelfish is definitely. There's two number ones. They're hand in hand. But the number one, in my opinion, is tank size. Because tank size for angelfish are a little bit funny. Because angelfish are vertical, top to bottom, tall, then you can't really go with like a short tank. Like, so a 20 long, you kind of want to stay away from. And the only reason why you want to do that, and this is the main reason why people say stay away from tanks that are shallow. It's because you don't want their fins dragging across the bottom. What happens is when their fins are dragged, like if this is the bottom of the tank, and their fins are dragging across the bottom because the tank is so shallow that they don't have swim in the middle, is that dragging thing will cause their fins to get damaged. They can end up with fin rot, and then start causing. Then you get a fungus. Then you get all kinds of other illnesses that come along with it. So you want to get a tank that has height to it, so that the fish can, swim up and down and side to side, instead of having to really, really kind of like skirt the line of the middle of the shallow aquarium without, going too low or going too high out of the water. Height is the key when you got an angelfish. Is it impossible to keep an angelfish in a tank that's not super high? Of course it's not impossible. You can do it. It's just preferable. Do you, boo-boo, do you. If you feel like your angelfish only needs 4 inches from the bottom and 4 inches from the top, who are we to tell you that you're wrong? It's your angelfish, is your tank. As long as your angelfish is healthy, can't nobody say stilly squat to you. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, if it was my angelfish, I would prefer to have an inside. But sometimes, you want an angelfish and you don't have a high tank. So does that mean you can't have an angelfish? Fooey, that's what I say on that. Fooey, get yourself your angelfish and just monitor. You know what I'm saying? Just monitor. Don't let nobody guilt you into doing something, into not doing something you want. All right, if you can make it happen, if you can make it work, make it work. Tell them to shut up. How many angelfish per aquarium size? I will say this. Angelfish, luckily, would prefer to be in a group because that's how they are in the wild. But we've bred them in captivity for so long. I don't know how much of that wild instinct they have in them. I will say this. If you're only going to have one angelfish, you can keep it in a 20-gallon hot, preferably a 29. If you have a 55-gallon aquarium, you can have a group of 6. That's a fair number. Whether you do 2 more or 2 less, like I said, who am I to judge? If you got a bigger tank, then go wild. Do your thing. You know what I mean? I just gave you tank parameters for a one fish in a 20 high, 6 fish in a 55. Do the math with anything that you have in between, whether it be a 40 breeder or 29, whatever. You do the math. Angelfish are basically big sails, okay? They're you know what I mean? They're like doop, they're like this, and then you turn sideways. They're big sails. So you want to have plenty of filtration, but you don't want to have strong filtration. If it was me and I had the opportunity to get an aquarium 100% from scratch, I would get a 29-gallon tank, and instead of going to the LFS, the fish store, whatever, and getting one hang on the back filter for a 30-gallon or 40-gallon aquarium, because normally they come like in 20s and 40s, go, oh, I want to get plenty of filtration, so I'm going to get a 40. I would probably try and get 2 20-gallon aquariums. So now I am getting filtration for 40 gallons, but the rush of water is not going to be so hard. So I'm getting plenty of filtration, but not a whole lot of power in each individual pump. That's where I'm going with. You want water movement, you want aeration, you want filtration, but you don't want these fish to be pushed around. What will happen if they get pushed around too much? They'll get tired, they'll get fatigued, stressed, and they could die on you. Will they swim in rushing water? Yes, they can swim in rushing water. They prefer not to. I've had this conversation with before. Yes, they can swim in rushing water. They can. They very much can. 365 days out of the year, they do not live in rushing water in the Amazon 365 days out the year. They do not. They will live in rushing water during seasons, but not the entire year long. Unless you plan on every 3 months changing up your filtration, it's best to keep the water movement, the power of your water, down to a minimum and your filtration level high. I would go with 2 smaller pumps instead of 1 big pump. Drop yourself a sponge filter. Now, I am a big fan of sponge filters because I cannot say too much about beneficial bacteria as being the #1 cause for having crystal clear water and having healthy water. Healthy water meaning clean water free of ammonia and nitrites. Heater's a fun one because heater, you can use that to manipulate their attitudinal issues. If you're having aggression issues or you're trying to breed a fish, the heater is something you can use to manipulate their behavior. If you keep you want your angelfish to be in the mid to high 70s normally. That's for people with keeping them in a community tank or a planet tank. If you're trying to breed, you want to keep that sucker up to 82-ish degrees. But if they're being uber aggressive, if you drop the temperature to 75-ish, then their metabolism drops and they become less aggressive because they become slowish. You raise the temperature up, they become more aggressive because now they might be in breeding mode. So, and their metabolism speeds up. So you can use the heater as a attitudinal tool. You know what I mean? Substrate and decorations, or if you're a fish snob, you want to say decor. Decor. Substrate. Angelfish do not root around in the dirt. They do not dig for food. Substrate. Angelfish do not care about substrate. So if you want to go bare bottom, if you want to Daffy Duck it, don't have any substrate. It's easier to clean if you're just having just angelfish in your aquarium. If you have multiple fish in your community aquarium, it don't matter. Angelfish do not care about the substrate. They're not going to be down there. They'll be there every once in a while to pick a little bit every once in a while, but they're not going to be hanging down at the bottom of the tank on a normal basis. If you do have black substrate, it will cause your fish's colors to pop a little bit better. So, I mean, as far as color goes, you can do a black gravel or black sand, but they don't care if you have black anything, you know, sand or gravel. Decor. I just think the word decor is so pretentious. Let me just say decorations. Of course, if you want to do a planet tank, the plants are a benefit, in which case you are going to have to do something about the substrate. But if you don't want to deal with all that, you want to do a bare bottom tank, you want to have plants in your aquarium, then you can use the fake ones, the silk plants you can get at the Hobby Lobby and the arts and craft places work just great. They would prefer long, tall plants where they could hide in and pretend like they're, you know, horizontal. They want horizontal. They want horizontal stuff, okay? They don't like bushy plants because they can't get into a bushy plant. They're too big and awkward to, you know, dig into a bushy, hard to reach, you know, thick plant, right? So if you want to get plants, if you know what look up jungle val. Jungle val is basically long leaves that go just straight up and down, Amazon sword type things that go straight up. They're the thick, leafy things that go straight up and down. They like that the best. Branches that go that are like going down, not sideways. Like a lot of people put things sideways in their aquariums. If you're doing angelfish, if you're trying to cater to the angelfish, get thinner branches instead of a thick log laying sideways that does nothing for the angelfish whatsoever. Get thinner branches that go up and down and a little bit diagonally. Your fish will like that a lot better than just a log laying at the bottom of the aquarium. Whatever water's coming out your tap is probably just fine for your angels. I have yet to see in the United States of America water coming out somebody's tap or their well that was insufficient to keep angelfish alive. Breeding is a whole different story. I'm talking about just keeping angelfish alive and thriving. They've been bred in captivity for so long. They're accustomed to all different types of water parameters. In the wild, they like soft, acidic, low pH water. 4, 5, anything lower than 6 as far as pH goes. But in captivity, I've had them all the way up to 8.2, all in between 6 to 8.2, and they've been fine. I've even had them breed in this type of environment, also with no issues. Remember, these fish are bred in captivity. They're not from the wild. These designer angelfish never been in the wild, and their ancestors, their parents, their grandparents, their great grandparents, have never seen the wild. All right, they haven't been in the wild for generations. So they're actually more accustomed to your tap water than they are Amazon water. So don't go around trying to change your water to, oh, it says here that angelfish need pH of 6.0. So I need to go do all kinds of silly stuff to change my water to 6.0. No, you don't. You'll be doing more damage than good, because trying to chase water parameters causes more problems than solves them. Now, if you can get your water to 6.0 and maintain that, they'll be fine with it. They'll love it. Yeah, great. Good for you. But it's not required for a designer angelfish. It's just not. You hear people talking about KH and GH and all that stuff. Just don't even worry about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't even worry about it when it comes to angelfish. It's like if you're breeding and stuff like that, you might want to be more curious about it. But when it comes to your parameters, there's only 3 things you have to worry about: ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. Ammonia should be at 0. Nitrite should be at 0. Nitrate should be as low as you can get it within reason. And when I say why don't I say nitrate should be at 0? It's because nitrate, it just comes along with the territory of keeping fish. It's always going to continue to grow in your aquarium. Your nitrites level, the only way you can bring it down is by either adding plants to control it or doing water changes to get rid of it. But as soon as it gets down to 0, it's going to start increasing. So, maintaining a nice low level of nitrate is the best you can do. And I mean, if you ain't got it at 0, don't cry. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Just keep it as low as you can possibly get it within reason. And the way you do that is by not overfeeding and doing regular water changes. That's the way you do that. I mean, you can put plants in the aquarium, put some pothos in the aquarium. Those are nitrate eating, things, plants. But if you're not doing plants and stuff, regular water changes and not overfeeding. Feeding angelfish is people's number one problem on why they kill them, is they overfeed them. And I don't know how many times I've stressed that angelfish are lying pigs. They're lying, filthy, dirty pigs. They will eat and they will eat. And every time you pass by the tank, they will come to the tank. They will come up to the top of the water, feed me, feed me, feed me. And you will feed them and they will eat it. And then you'll go back an hour later and they'll go up to the top, feed me, feed me, feed me. And they will eat it. And you'll be so happy that these fish are having an interaction with you. You'll continue to do this. But it is not good that you do that. You got to show some self-control. You have to put these fish on a diet, because what will happen is all that food, they'll just crap it out, fouling up your water, causing ammonia spikes, causing your nitrate to increase, causing you to do more water changes. And if you slack off on those water changes, then those ammonia and all the nitrites and nitrates, they'll become deadly. Don't be fooled by their cute little feed me, feed me, feed me faces, okay? Small amounts. I mean, I don't even feed my fish every day. They in the wild, they are eating small morsels throughout the day. They don't eat big old meals 3 times a day. No, they don't. That's one thing people don't realize. In the wild, these fish eat they see an itty bitty little bug. They'll eat that one little bug until they can come across another little bug, maybe an hour or 2 or whatever later, that another fish didn't happen to come across. So they're not eating as much as you think in the wild. But in captivity, they have buffets every time you walk past the aquarium. And if you overfeed the aquarium, the food that they can't get to will find a cranny or a nook or get sucked up in your filter and start to rot, fouling up your water. So when it comes to feeding angelfish, don't be fooled by them. And, you got to have some self-control too. You do. You got to take some responsibility in this. You're killing your fish by overfeeding it. As cute as they are, you're doing them dirty. As far as the types of food you feed, Okay, I feed my own brand of food as a staple. All right, I sell food on my website. I have different varieties of what I can feed them. I feed a mix of food because I do believe one type of food is no bueno for any animal. Okay, so I do feed a high protein, I do feed a spironella, I do feed a krill, and I will go get frozen. That's one of the great things about the food that I sell is I sell it as a staple food in bulk. So you can buy a pound of my food for, I don't know, $8, $9, $7, whatever it is. I don't know what it is you're buying at the time. That way you can save the rest of your money to get the brine shrimp or the mysis shrimp or the bloodworms, the bug bites, because that stuff is expensive. So you can feed my food as a staple and you can spend your money on all the fancy high-end food. Whether it's my food or anybody else's food, you want to feed them a variety of foods. I like to stay away from flakes because that stuff hits the water and just goes everywhere, and it does not get picked up by all your fish or your angelfish. A lot of it goes to rot. You hear protein content as something that is always mentioned with angelfish. Is it important for angelfish? Not as much as a lot of people think. It is a large factor, but it is not the end all, be all, end all to angelfish food. When it comes to angelfish, so they call them omnivorous or carnivorous. Depending on who you talk to, I consider all fish to be omnivorous, to be honest with you. All fish will eat whatever they can get their hands on. It's not like a fish is going to come across a food and go, I'm not going to eat it. They'll pretty much eat it. Some prefer to eat. I mean, if it's a barracuda or something, if they're accustomed to eating stuff that moves, that's alive, that's one thing. But like an Oscar will eat a green bean if you put it in there with not even think twice. Most cichlids that you buy at the fish store will eat a green bean if you put it in the water, and not even think twice about it and wait for more. In fact, a lot of these fish who are considered carnivorous, the food that they eat are most of the time herbivores, so they are getting vegetation through the foods that they eat. So let's say shrimp. A fish only eats shrimp. You would call them a carnivore, right? But that shrimp only eats algae. So when that shrimp eats the algae is in the shrimp's system. Then the other fish, the Oscar or whatever, eats the shrimp. Boom, the Oscar is getting protein through the shrimp's meat and the vegetation that the shrimp ate, which all is necessary for the health of the fish because it has different minerals and vitamins and all that stuff. So in my opinion, even they're all kind of omnivorous in a sense. But back to angels, you can feed them, you'll see on the back protein things and think, oh, this is super high protein. It's perfect for angels. You don't have to. A 40% protein for angels is just fine. Now, if you're trying to breed angels, now you're talking a different scenario where you want to get a higher protein content. But a community food, a community diet with a high with a 50, 45 protein content, just fine. You don't have to go, oh, this one's got 43 and it costs more, but it's 3 more percentages higher. No, it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. A community middle of the road is fine. You could always get some other type of meaty foods to supplement that higher protein requirement. If you feed a fish too much protein, now they're in danger of getting bloat. So vegetation is important to these fish. So it's best to just do a middle of the road with supplemental protein. You know what I mean? Now we're going to get into one of my favorite aspects of fish keeping, and that's behavior. It's one of my favorite subjects when it comes to fish. I think I'm into fish keeping more for observing fish's behavior than anything else, to be honest with you. I don't get sentimental when they die. I'm more of like interested in what they do and why they do it. Angelfish do a lot of weird stuff in different scenarios. Which takes us into tank mates. Most of their most oddest behavior is with other fish. Not just any other fish though, their most oddest behaviors with other angelfish. As far as aggression goes, they're a cichlid. And I've come to the conclusion that whenever anybody asks me about cichlid aggression, to give them advice with a caveat saying, yeah, but you never know. You know, yeah, they do this, this, and this, but you never know, because you never know when it comes to cichlids. You can get a cichlid that's supposed to be aggressive, and it turns out to be a cream puff. You get a cichlid that's supposed to be very docile, and it ends up being Satan incarnate. You just never know. But generally speaking, angelfish are way more aggressive towards each other than they are with other fish. I guess this is the part where I say you have to put them with fish that can't fit in their mouth, because if it can fit in their mouth, they're gonna try and do it. I hate to say that phrase, but it is actually necessary. So you don't really want to put them with guppies. Well, you don't want to put full-grown angelfish with guppies or neon tetras, because they will try and eat it, or any other, like white clouds, anything little like that. They're gonna try and eat it, because why not? Right? But for the most part, anything they can't eat, they can live with just fine. They will become aggressive towards each other, especially during mating time. Usually just during mating time. For the most part, angelfish are not that aggressive towards each other. I have witnessed aggression from individual angels. It's like one-offs. Like I've had an angelfish that just murderized every angelfish it saw. I don't know, maybe there was a screw loose in that one. I've had one to do that. And then I've had angelfish that did the whole territorial thing. And then I've had most angelfish get along fine with all the other angelfish until the breeding time happens. That's when there's territorial issues. As far as interaction with other fish, they're pretty much fine. I like to keep angelfish with like Jack Dempseys and fire mouths and Oscars. The funny thing is in my experience, I've come to the conclusion that a lot of these semi-aggressive cichlids don't see angelfish as a threat. And I think it's because they look so different that they don't consider them to be a cichlid, so they pay them absolutely no mind. But they will attack another fish that have that tubular shaped body, but they don't attack angelfish that look like that. Granted, I'm not saying put your angelfish in with a red devil or maniguense, you know what I mean, or a black nasty, but like an Oscar or a chocolate cichlid or a Jack Dempsey, I wouldn't have a problem with it. My personal favorite fish to keep angelfish with are, like I said, the smaller semi-aggressive cichlids like Jack Dempsey's, blue cars and stuff like that, and sailfin mollies. I think they make great dither fish for angelfish, especially seeing as how sailfin mollies will produce live young. It gets the angelfish, you know, something to chase, the little babies and stuff, if you're not squeamish about angelfish eating babies. But they are cichlids, so they do have a little woof action thing going all deep in their DNA, you know what I mean? As far as fish to keep away from angelfish, like I said, you don't want to put them in with anything that can fit in their mouth, but you don't want to put them in with fin nippers, tiger barbs and stuff like that have a tendency, or like a Exodon, the bucktooth tetras, that will have a tendency to try and like nip at its fins because they just can't help themselves. Those are fish that you kind of don't want to put with angelfish. A couple common health issues that come along with angelfish that I've come across are ick, but that's with all fish. Fin rot. Fin rot, normally it's due to poor water quality and damaged fins, whether it be from being nipped or from, you know, other fish nipping at them, or the fin dragging across the bottom. Velvet seems to be an issue that I see a lot in fish at the pet store. So there's something going on with fish that once on in the shipment, from them going from wherever they're from to the LFS, the pet store, they end up with velvet. I've never had a fish at my home that's been at my house for a long period of time just up and develop velvet. I've had fish that I got from the pet store and then velvet popped up within the first day or two, but never once have I had a fish long term and it's developed velvet. Velvet has been a biggie. But those are the main ones. Oh, and parasites, internal parasites. You'll notice that with white poop. All these things are very common. The fin rot stuff, you can easily take care of that very naturally with salt. You know, using aquarium salt in the water, that will help with the fin rot. If you want to use some type of fungal cure or something like that, or something like, so that it doesn't get fungus, because that will lead to fungus if not taken care of. But clean water and salt in the aquarium, usually any type of wounds on the outside of the body, that works just fine for me. Internal parasites, you can use, you know, they got what, Paragard and stuff like that that you can soak their food in. That works. All those things I mentioned, the ick, high the temperature, salt in the water, a lot of water change. A lot of that stuff is real easy to take care of. You know, you got ick cure. There's a bunch of stuff you can use that is, you know, pretty common to clean up angelfish issues. But clean water is also the key to not getting it after you've cleared up the fish, not to get them again. You know, doing a regular water maintenance is pretty much the key to not getting that again. When you're going to the store to get your angelfish, there's a couple of things I want you to take a look at in picking out the angelfish. First thing you're going to want to do is, okay, like a lot of times people want to ask how long the angelfish has been there. You can do that. But regardless of how long the angelfish has been there, there are different things that I look for. For instance, when I walk to the tank, a lot of times a healthy group of angel will come to the glass because they want you to feed them. They're very smart. It doesn't take them long to know that these big hairless apes of us, you know, equal food. You know, you see us and it equals food. So it doesn't take them long at all to figure that out. So when you're at the LFS and you walk past the tank and they all come to the glass, that's a good sign. They want to be fed. They're doing something natural. If you see a fish that is not coming to the glass, there's a reason. It might be so brand new that it's stressed, it's skittish, or if it's been there for a while, it's not coming to the glass. That's a serious sign. There's something going on with that fish. You don't want to get it. Once you've seen a bunch of fish that has come to the front, you want to kind of look. You want to look at the group. All right, is there one that's wants to be right in the middle and kind of pushes everybody out of the way? That one is the healthiest. The biggest meanie in the group is the healthiest. If he is the biggest bully, he is the healthiest. Once you have identified the biggest meanie, the biggest bully in the group, you want to look at its gill plates. Make sure they cover the entire gills. If you see the gills peeking out, that don't mean the gills are long. That means the gill plate is short. You don't want that. So you want to make sure that the gill plate is covering the gills and is in good shape. You're going to want to make sure the fins are all in the right place. Okay? It's got two fins right there by the gills. It's got two fins, long stringy fins on either side. Now this is important. It's got two long stringy fins on either side down at the bottom. Not one on the right side and one in the middle, or two on the right side, or one on the right side, or one on the left side. This is the problem with angelfish, people buying angelfish. They get so mesmerized by that high dorsal fin and that anal fin that they forget to look at the other fins. You don't know how many times I've found people buying angelfish and the fins are jacked up because they didn't look at it. You know what I mean? You're going to want to look at the tail. You're going to want to look at the lateral line. Across the center of the fish that go like almost from where the mouth is, almost like a little arc. That's called the lateral line. It stops about 3/4 of the way back from the fish. You're going to want to make sure there is a lateral line. You're going to want to make sure that the fish's body is in generally good condition. You don't want to see any sores. Preferably, you don't want to see any scrapes, but you can kind of, you know, you don't want to see any, you want the fins to be perfect. But here's the problem with having perfect fins at the LFS. These fish are crammed in there. There's going to be some picking. So If you see a fish that you really, really like, but their fins are not 100% because it's been picked at, take it home anyway. They will grow back. The fins are made out of the same thing as your fingernails. They're going to grow back. Don't worry about some fins that are... What you don't want is to get a fin that is kinked. That's kinked. You want their fins to be straight. If you look at your fish, you don't want your fish to be like that. You might think it's cute because it's deformed, and that's fine too. Bless your heart. I don't. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't, ring the bell. Hype the video. If you feel like this video deserves a hype, you can hype the video. It totally helps my channel. Leave a comment. I love comments. Share the video. And here's a couple more videos that might interest you as well. I appreciate you, and I thank you in advance.